Hey there folks, how you doing today? Coming at you with a little longer of a clip to go into some more things as they are, the media frenzy and all of that. It's just some things need put out there to folks that, again, media dropping the ball. Here we still are. I apologize, I'm not feeling very peppy. Had to make a trip today and catch up on some things. I haven't been feeling good. Rare diseases, good time. It just kind of wears you out a little bit. My gut warmed over day. But going back to last night and the press conference, I think some things need expanded upon. And again, we need to focus on real things in the real world and what is going on out there. And the media, it's sabotage at this point. It is journalistic malpractice to some degree. A true dereliction of duty, because there is a ton of things going on in the world that is not making the mainstream media. And I have to take a minute and say stop again, as I have in all my other videos. Sorry, I'll probably have to stop and start a bit because the dogs are being quite rowdy today. They don't like this heat and being cooped up in the air. I should be working on my house, but I'm getting tired. So back to the subject. They had the press conference. I'm fine. Nothing really wonky. Oh, he made a couple of gaffes. Yeah, he working all day. I think he got Putin on the brain because, there's a lot going on that is directly tied into all of this mess from that man. Yeah, you can go look that up. The Senate Intelligence Report, Republican-led GOP, back from 18? Not 19. Yeah, 18, I believe. Yeah, Russian interference, people. What are we seeing now? Russian interference. But I see the lay of the land of little dots that I'm connecting, and maybe you guys see this too. The sabotage from within. I mean, the Beltway bubble and the media bubble. People been screaming, we don't want to hear this nonsense no more. I think you can see the campaign of pressure we as people are putting on the media, because New York Times finally came out and said, and LA Times, hey, Trump is an existential threat. Yeah, okay, yeah, we've been on this boat for a while. Where y'all been? Why ain't you reporting on stuff, that's going on, like his meeting with Orban at Mar-a-Lago, which I don't hear a lot of play in the regular media about. And then discussing, quote-unquote, peace, quote-unquote, in Ukraine. Okay, dog whistles again. Peace in Ukraine is what we all want to see. But their idea of peace is letting Putin absorb Ukraine back into Russia. That's their idea of peace. And that is a national security issue, because you have a private citizen. Trump is a private citizen at this moment, meddling in foreign affairs. Or they're discussing their policy. But that is a roundabout way going to other leaders and dictators in the world and coming up with your plan, your conniving, your deception, this is what we're going to pull off to give Putin what he wants, because he's helping us on the back end with interference. So Yeah, that there's a law for that, the Logan Act, folks. For regular citizens cannot interfere with foreign policy. You know, they can't. He is a regular citizen. He's dabbling his toe in things that, he can't. And even though he has this presidential immunity, this is an unofficial act, in my view, because he is not currently president. And he is poking around with things he shouldn't be poking on because he don't know jack shit about it. These are things that are not being reported. As I've said in other videos, are you hearing about the bills the GOP is shutting down with reproductive rights, or elevating, as in we don't want energy efficient appliances that's going to cost the people more money because it's a woke thing, because they all just on that bandwagon. Well, let's cost the people money and call it woke. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. You're not hearing about that. I mean, there's other wars. Ukraine's kind of fallen off. You didn't hear about the children's hospital hit. Maybe a blip. Israel, Gaza. You're hearing little blips about. There's conflict in Sudan. Does anybody hear about that? And the potential famine and the violence and the crisis that's going on there? No. Don't hear about it. There's other things going on in the world. We're not hearing about the deets, down to the nitty gritty of this Project 2025, and Trump trying to pull back from it. No, there's a whole lot of people in his administration that do have their hands in this and are directly tied to him currently and former. Again, it is white Christian nationalism. And all these people saying Trump's a strong man, he's not a puppet, and nobody's telling him what to do. Yeah, they are. The billionaire class and the Heritage Foundation class are his puppet masters now, because they've cut a deal. Give him the power he wants, and they can fill in the blanks with the rest. Who's a puppet now? He is. He did not reporting on that. That strongman persona he comes off just because he blathers on, bellowing like Foghorn Leghorn. And I liked Foghorn Leghorn, by the way. It's a cartoon character, for goodness sake. Ain't real. But he's sure acting like it. Like, what's his name down in Louisiana? Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm just making a point, folks. These are things that you need to be aware of. You need to look at what's going on in the bigger picture. As I said, the press conference happened, and still, I didn't want to click on anything, but I'm like, I want to get the lay of the land, see if this moved any needles on the media side. I didn't play the whole panel on MSNBC. Nobody else is. I wasn't looking. I already know what other places think. I know who they're in the tank for. I thought, saw people that I do follow. See which way the wind's blowing. And still the sabotage. Biden has said multiple times in multiple interviews, in 9 days he's pounded the pavement, like 19, traveling to different places and everything. He said, no, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. But they're still dangling this carrot, like there's this thought that he might go somewhere. They don't want to hear him. And they're leaving it out there open-ended, like it's still in the wind. But he said, no, I'm in. They don't want to hear it. And I think, too, that is helping to inflame this anxiety. And again, you got the Beltway bubble and getting the people with no spine about them caving because of peer pressure. And again, we come out the other side, primary their ass. I fully believe we as a people, because we are the people, can galvanize and have a coalition to say no. I do believe that. So they need to go. If this is how they're gonna play this game. That's weak. It's cowardly. It's not looking at the bigger picture, and you're not doing what's right for your people. You think you are. That's your personal agenda. You do you then. Whatever. But you suffer the consequences in the end. But they're still dangling it out there like, oh, it's still so uncertain. No, it's not. I heard him. Everybody else heard him. I don't know what more. They can't. They moved the goalposts, and you can't attain that. Nobody can. If they already have a preconceived notion and an agenda they want to push. Again, I said before, he can do cartwheels. They don't care. They have a mindset, and that mindset is multifaceted and layered, and it really kind of, it gets under my skin, because I see other people connecting the dots a little bit, you know, but I would like to add to that as well, for things to think on. Like I said, you form your own opinion, if that's what you're seeing. Because you got them saying, well, you know what, if he's going to stay in. Well, he said he's going to, so, you know, get on board, or whatever. I mean, to me it seems like they're pitting Biden versus Biden right now, and not Biden versus Trump, which is number one, which is where the focus needs to be. And they're not. It's Biden against Biden. And again, causes the anxiety to the people. Because then that makes them think that there is something really afoot that's wrong or bad, or maybe they shouldn't, you know, they should waver. Okay, if you are on the fence at this point and you haven't made a decision, I will give you the bumper sticker. If you're a one-issue voter, there is one issue: democracy or Christo-fascism. That's it. The stuff you want to quibble about, this, that, and the third, we can all work that out on the back end. But the existential threat right now is democracy or Christo-fascism. That is your one-issue vote. Which side you on? Period. Full stop. End of story. The rest, we can work that out. We got to get to the other side first. And nobody's going to agree on everything. And I agree, Katie Fang said this. And I have to give props, because it's absolutely true. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit. It was on Threads, I believe. Yeah. It was, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Think about that. Our country, our way of life, everything in life, there is no perfect. Nowhere ever, never will be. And when you try to, I mean, that doesn't mean we don't strive for better. Absolutely, of course, we strive to achieve and expand and progress. But there will never be a perfect utopian system. Can't be. It's not that we shouldn't try for it, absolutely. But again, we're sabotaging ourselves if we think there can be this perfect utopia in like a minute and all will be well. It just doesn't, that's not reality on the ground. So don't let that perfection that the media is pushing their agenda of, it's got to be this way, or whatever they think their idea is of this perfection, or even whatever it is. You can't let perfection be the enemy of good. We have good right now. If we didn't have good right now, everything would be a fuck all mess. So we do have good right now. So don't let perfection be the enemy of that. Like that old saying, go to war with the army that you have, not the army that you want. This is the army we have. And we can do this. We can. But the army everybody else wants has a different agenda. Our agenda is our lives. That's it. It's the barest bones of it. It's our lives. I mean, they already have. You're not hearing about this much either, unless you're, following certain sources that give you the news. There's lists of over 350 people out there of political people and high-profile folks and media folks that are on a targeted list to go after if Trump gets in for his idea of treason. When you hear him say military tribunals, the only places that have military tribunals are dictatorships. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we're at, people. We're not getting the news that we need to hear to help those who might still be on the fence an informed decision. To, say, look, this is what's happening. And I think that it's very skewed. I mean, because basically, from what I'm hearing, to break down all the noise and the glue they're throwing, every blob of glue they could throw against the wall, the basic three boiled down to, Biden makes it to convention. I don't know why the convention is such a make or break for everybody. I mean, but okay. Whatever. Biden makes it to convention, he's the guy. Alright. If the other alternative is Harris. And again, I will mention, as I said in other videos, from the get, it has always been a partnership. And, yeah, I'm cool with that. I got no problem. She's capable. And the other one is their quasi-weird, we push someone else that we're going to galvanize everyone around and make a star in a minute, and we're all going to rally, and that'll be that. That's their basic three options, from what I'm hearing. Y'all hearing that? So that's what it sounds like to me. Their basic breakdown of what they want to see. I don't know. The practical reality of the third is the one that has everybody nervous. If you think about it. All of us on the Biden-Harris team, Biden or Harris, we're cool. We're down. But it's that third one that's giving people the anxiety. Because they don't know which way the wind is blowing. And if they're going to push that and tear the Dems apart. And we end up losing anyway. So that's what people are nervous about. People are having anxiety about, because the media is pushing this agenda. Who owns the big media companies? Rich folk. Their taxes run out next year. Tax cuts. They want them pennies, people. Who gonna give them pennies? Trump. Biden's like, no. They don't want broken up by the FTC, which he should come out banging on that tomorrow. Freak them all the frick out. Go ahead. They're too big for their britches. They broke up Ma Bell back in the day. I remember that. And then it became AT&T. And then it broke up that once. They've broken these things up a few times. And somehow they just keep conglomerating again. Jesus Christ. FTC need to get on it. Go ahead. We're going to come after you. I mean, if they're already declaring Biden and Harris administration the enemy, fight back. Flip the script. Again, take these things and be like, hey, this how you going to play? Well, then, you want to play hard? We'll play hard. I'm just making the point. It's that third option that seems to be the one that's giving everybody the stress, or the people caving. And the anxiety. Biden and Harris can win if we want them to. Do we want them to? I think anybody on the side of this would say yes. Because this is the thing I think they need to do, the administration right now. Come out swinging. Have Biden own it. Yeah. Say, I'm old. I know. But that's why I picked the people that I did in this administration to fill those shoes if needed. If something happens to me, these are the very capable and sound people to pick up that mantle and carry forth. So it quells people's fears or alleviates them a little bit to, hey, and go into why we have what those people do and who those people are, Harris included, and put her out there front and center all the time. You know, hey, we've got this good team going. This is why they are a good team. This is what they've done. This is what they're doing. And they are more than capable of carrying forth if something happens to me. That's what he needs to say. And he needs to put it out there on Front Street. And I think that will help a lot. Come out banging with it. Really. Own it. Yes, going over the accomplishments, which nobody expected. But take those accomplishments and say, hey, we get through this. This is what we're going to do. The boat's sinking. We're going to plug these holes. We're going to pass these bills to get the voting rights. We're going to pass the rights for women. We're going to fix and definitely get on the court reform. Oh, for the love of God, get on the court reform. Come out banging on that. That's what they need to do. Flip the script. The Biden administration needs to flip the script. And if it sounds bullying and all that, so what? It sounds too tough, so what? Again, this is a one voter issue right now. And if you don't know what that Christo-fascist movement is, then go read the mandate for leadership, the proper title of Project 2025. If you want the dumbed down version, which is Agenda 47, Project 2025 for Dummies. So these are the things that need to be pushed by the people. And we have done it. I mean, look at, like I said, New York Times, LA Times, and some other ones are coming out. But I still think some in the media are trying to dangle that carrot like there's something else out there. And I think that's what gives people the fear and anxiety they have. Is that there's no plan of how to attack this from the Biden administration. And how we're going to defeat it, you know, as an administration. And again, I will say it, we are the rescue team, folks. We got to participate. We have to be the ones to say, and we're going to join you. Joe stepped up. Harris has stepped up. The administration has stepped up. Are we going to step up? Are we going to step up? So it's not just about the plan they need going forward to attack this head on. Like say, hey, this is what we've got done. This is what we're going to do. We're going to fill those holes so we can hopefully push back on this authoritarian regime that's coming. And if you aren't supporting Harris, I don't know what the hell's your problem is. Unless it's patriarchy and misogyny. I mean, really, get on board and get the hell off the boat. Really, at this point, you're going to be that petty? You're going to be that petty? I mean, seriously. And just because, that's another thing, the media's not putting her out there and all she's doing. I know about these things. Vast majority of the public does not. Again, I pay attention. I see things. I read things. Not everybody does if it's not on Front Street. Put it out there. They need to push it. The administration needs to come out banging on this. They do. And I think that would help a lot. I really do. The media needs to get on the ball and break down the Project 2025 stuff, really, to the people. But I think, too, they're looking at that third option really, really hard themselves. Um, because it's kind of like a blackmail thing. Follow along with me here. They push this crazy narrative, like, we don't know if Biden's going to handle it. We don't think Kamala can handle it. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe we need that third rando person to come in and save the day. People, there are no white knights in this story, by the way. There's no white knight going to come save the day. We are the rescue team. But say they get this rando person come in. A lot of people on the Biden-Harris side have already said they're not down. They're not down. But I think what the media is going to do, again, with their sabotage, is try to reframe in such a way that, oh, if you don't support whoever this rando person is we want to carry forth, then that Project 2025 will come. So you have to get on board or this is going to happen to you. So it's kind of like they're trying to get their cake and eat it too. You see where I'm going with that? You follow me? We already have what we need. But that's not good enough for them. Because they don't want to get behind them. They don't want to help elevate and show how we can go forward and beat this, existential crisis that we're facing. No, they don't want to get on board. They want, if it bleeds, it leads. And that's why I said, people, don't subscribe, don't watch, don't click. That's why I didn't watch the longer stuff. I just watched a clip and I'm like, okay, I saw all I needed to see. You're still not getting there, people. You're not getting there. And then you could tell they was parsing their words quite carefully. And I just want Joy to throw down. Joy Reid, I was just like, go throw down, sister. Go throw down. Because, it was all she could do. You could see it. And, I was like, yeah, throw it out there. Even Nicole Wallace, I like her. I mean, she's alright. And you can even see her parsing, too. It's like, if she could come out and say what she really wanted to, I could see it. I could see it. It's like, say it. Say it. This is where we're at. Yes, the animals are in the back. They're trying to tell me it's dinner time. So I might have to pause for a second and come back to all this. But I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's a sabotage about all this. I mean, comment and let me know if you see that too. I know people are genuinely frightened in some areas because they don't have that assurance of the plan. The Biden administration hasn't really set forth what they're going to do by coming out and saying, hey, we get there, guess what? All these holes in the boat, if you give us the trifecta we need, we will get it done. They need to come out banging on that message. Give us the trifecta. These holes, we'll fill them. That needs to be their message. Straight out the gate. And I understand because they're fighting on many fronts here, plus running a country and trying to keep conflicts in the world from going. And that's one thing he is good at, Biden. He's good at foreign policy because he knows the game. And he is teaching those in his administration how to play that game. And Kamala has been first and foremost with that. And she's learning from him. Because she's been, again, a partnership. In on the Southeast Asia stuff. In on the African stuff. She has been on the G7, on the Ukraine. She has been in on everything. So she's learning the game from a master of foreign policy. And that is another critical thing we need right now because of the coalitions he has helped build, granted, it's a hellscape, the wars that are going on. It is. I am not diminishing them, nor am I minimizing them. And they all need to stop. Because what's the point in the end? I know, power and money, but It could be so much worse if we didn't have those coalitions keeping stuff together to not have it expanding. Because really, if you look at the way things have played out on the pieces on the chessboard, they should have already. But those coalitions are holding, and that's what they helped create, and we need that. Yeah, people are mad because Biden can make a call and Israel and Gaza could stop tomorrow. No, it can't. No, it can't. If we don't give them weapons, they're going to get them somewhere else, and we're not giving them the weapons. We're holding them up. If they didn't get them from us, they would get them somewhere. Number one, it's not our country. This is our exceptionalism again. Going, oh, we can just make it stop. No, it don't work that way. That's colonialism. That's imperialism. No, we just can't do that. It's not our country. He is trying. We have done that in the past, and you see what it's gotten us. They are trying to expand and go on a different path, working in a coalition and working on a different level that is more beneficial than we just go stomp around and take what we want and do what we say. They're trying to create a new conversation about how things like that are addressed in the world. And this is Israel and Gaza, and it is their territory, respectively. And the one person, Hamas is holding it up too, but right now, Bibi Netanyahu is the big one that is. He's Trumpian. He wants what he wants. And Biden don't like him anyway. Never has, I don't think. But he can, aside from Bibi's just saying, I'm tapping out, which he won't, because he's running from prosecution himself. And he knows that he has created such a hot mess that his goose is going to be cooked one way or another. If he holds on to that power, then that's a little bit longer for him. He is not going to go gently into that good night. And Biden can only push him so far. I mean, he can't make him do anything because this is up to him. But with the coalitions that have been created and all of the back and forth and the behind the scenes stuff, it has stymied that from spreading and creating an even worse catastrophe than already is. And it is a catastrophe. Across the board, it's a catastrophe. But think about how much worse it could be. If those people, again, in this administration, we obviously trust them because we aren't in chaos right now. Because, the Chevron deference getting smacked into the ground by SCOTUS is, I would say, is equal to, if it's right up there with the immunity decision as far as how much those two things alone just tear our country apart on a constitutional level. People, that's no shit. And if people really understood that, there could be chaos right now if we did not have an administration we trust. So that's why I said they've stepped up. Are we going to step up? They can win if we want them to win, but we need to come together to make that happen. They need to put that message out there as well. They need to get out there. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what's going to be. It is really, really hard to, I know, break through that media onslaught of the noise, but it is working. People are getting tired of it. And I think folks need to remember we hold the keys to the kingdom. We, the people. Who got the keys? We got the keys. Nobody else. You are not. I know I heard it on the one podcast about, you're not electing a man in this administration, and, they were saying this stuff, and they're trying to go back and frame it around us being like MAGA or something. Oh, God, no, we're not. We're not. Again, realistic things in the real world. You put a new person forward. If it ain't Biden or Harris, and you just get some rando person out there, you're going to create a star in a minuscule amount of time to galvanize and get across the finish line. What is the likelihood of that having a positive outcome? I'm not saying it can happen. I'm saying what's the likelihood? Betting people wouldn't bet on that, right? So it's already doomed to fail. Unless you want to blackmail with Project 2025. And then you're still setting forth your own agenda, media and rich folk. You know, that's another thing. Rich folk, they can abscond anytime they want if it all goes sideways. High profile folks, they got money, they got resources, they can go. What about the people? That's another thing. Media folk, boots on the ground, your everyday folks working in that area. They're leaving you high and dry too, pushing this agenda, not getting on the side of we need to fight this crisis that is coming. There it is, the cliff. We're going over it. We need to stop the train. They leave you hanging too. What's going to happen to you? This agenda they're pushing, you guys need to push back internally and say stop. Again, participation everywhere. This is where we're at, folks. We're fighting a battle on multiple fronts. And the sabotage is dividing everyone. And we all need to galvanize around an end goal of we come out the other side and we plug the holes in this boat and fix this mess. But the courts, definitely courts got to be top of the ticket on, you know. Yeah, we're one issue voters right now. Democracy or Christofascism, but I'm talking about the after. We get there, and you want to tell how people, you know, tell people how you're going to fix things, that court reform is going to be one of them. We have to have that going forward, or we go nowhere. So this needs to pound into folks. It really does. I've been noticing these things, and I've been, you know, picking up other stuff going on in the media, and the media just seems to still think we're all stupid as hell, which I would like a word. I am sure many others would as well. And it really, it cannot be overstated that this Project 2025 crap, I mean, they're not even hiding anymore. And do you know what Christofascism is? It's white supremacy. Again, I told you in another video, 2 words, white power. And I had to run some errands today. And I had to make a trip a little bit. And I'm driving. And I see all these Trump signs everywhere. And I live up north a bit. And on beside one of the Trump flags, there was a Confederate flag. And I wondered if they correlated or it connected for them at all. It's not a cool Dukes of Hazzard thing, people. It's not. Do they understand really what that stands for? And if they back that, well, we know what side, you know, we know how the wind blows for you. You into white supremacy. White power. I mean, am I overstating? Because the way I'm seeing it now, and the Heritage Foundation and all those groups and all those people and all the things that are being said, and they're not hiding it anymore. If you ain't on that side of the white supremacy, then basically, again, like I said before, we all on the chopping block. The threat to us is all very real. Am I overstating that if you have a Trump sign in your yard, you support white power and white supremacy? Because that's what they're preaching. That's what Project 2025 is, and that is what they stand for now. And again, administration, media, wrap it around the necks of Trump, all of the GOP, top to bottom, state, federal, local. If they a Trump backer, they're for white supremacy. stand for white power. And if you say, well, that's not me, but then why do you support him? Because that's all he's about. He ain't about helping you. He's about power and control. He's about letting the people who are supplying him with the plans and their vision to come to reality. Anything that won't touch you in some way? Again, anybody can be othered for anything. When a regime, which it will be a regime, people, wants to come after you, and you don't fall in line, and you do not bow, and you must bow, and you must subjugate yourself. That's why I said, do not bow in advance. Do not obey in advance. Do not give up in advance. And if you say, well, I'm not about white power, but I support his message. What message is that? His message is white power. Tell me what other message there is. Oh, immigration is that. No, that's all secondary right now. Because like I said, you're not going to have to shut no border down because people ain't going to be coming. And think about that, folks. This country was formed on the melting pot of the world, and now you all about your white power. Well, remember, people who, you white folk out there, y'all's people came from somewhere else. There were some other folks already here, and the land got stolen and taken from them under the duress of genocide and torture and subjugation. Remember that. You white folk that want to go on about that, think hard about history. And like I said, I saw that Confederate flag, and it really just kind of just really connected for me. That I don't know that it connects for other people. And it really brought it home. And that moment, like, dang, really? This is where you're at? And I just kind of like, I mean, I get it. I get where the notions of how cool and, whatever, if you think, did you see the people with the stuff on their cars and Confederate flags and whatnot? And some people actually do really believe that stuff. But up here, where I'm at, even where I come from when I was a kid in the rural area, you would see that flags and stickers and all of the plates on the trucks, the Confederate flag and stuff. And sometimes when I got older, I correlated. Like, do you really get it? This is not Dukes of Hazzard, people. It's not. Because when I was young, I mean, I was on the telly, and I watched it, and I used to think, before I really knew anything about it, the Civil War and the Confederacy and all, I just thought it was a cool flag on a cool car that did cool things, and there were these boys against the law, and I didn't really, I was like, 5, 6 years old, something like, I was a little wee thing, back then. No, I was older than that. Yeah, I was older than that. That was the 80s, right? Early 80s? I can't even remember. I was young though. Because I remember I would go to my grandparents on the weekends, and my pap would watch that. And it would be on at the house once in a while too. But I was young. I think I was still in elementary school, I believe. But I do remember seeing it and thinking, oh my gosh, look at what the car can do, and that's such a cool thing the way they got it designed. I didn't know. But whenever I heard about the Civil War and the Confederacy, and we were studying in school, and I was like, I correlated, I'm like, oh, I get it now. And all these boys against the law, and that was the Confederacy against the federal, the Union, and they're going against the law. Oh, okay. Connect the dots. I get it now. And why it wasn't so cool. Yeah, it was a TV show, it was entertainment, whatever. But people rolling around with that stuff, I think they're trying to play on that, like the Dukes of Hazzard. And it was just kind of like, do you make it make sense? Do you piece it together? Like, nah, that's not really cool. And that made me wonder about whoever was flying that flag. Like, do you piece it together, people? And you're supporting the losing team, by the way, so. Okay. Make it make sense again. And they were fighters and they were, you know, all that. No. Yeah, I'm not saying those people didn't fight. I'm not saying that. And they went for their agenda. But it was a lot of white, rich slavers sending the poor folk and the regular, everyday folk out to die for them. That's what it amounted to. And they believed in that cause until they didn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna have our rights, and I don't see a lot of them rich white folk out there be fighting. They sent the poor and everybody else who wasn't part of their group and their class out to die for them. And the Confederacy. So these are things I think people need to think on. And I see these signs, and I'm coming back, and I see them again, and I'm just like, do you people really understand what you're supporting? And if you're not that kind of person, why are you supporting this criminal, this felon? And I don't care if he gets it wiped off his record because SCOTUS gave him some, you know, blanket immunity. He has always been and will always be a criminal. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. His daddy was rolling with the Klan. And now we just have a new kind of Klan. Neo-Confederates. Neo-Nazis. Whatever you want to call them. But that is what that side is. And we need to hang it around them and pound it on them every day. And people who have those signs up, think on it. What your idea about policy and the way things should go is not secondary. I'm not trivializing it, but you need to be right aware of what is coming. And oh, he'll put these policies in place, but that's you wanting white power, your power, and you're obeying in advance, and that's fine with you. Is it really? Is it really when they decide you don't toe the line enough for them and they throw you into a camp or they boot you? How much is that support really going to matter to you then? But we, as, again, a coalition, we need to galvanize. We need to push that out there every day. We need to hang it on them because that's what this is. And I mean, let me know if you see that or not. But to me, Trump equals that. And you're a Trump supporter, and that's in your yard, and that's your flag, and that's your boy. That's what you're supporting. And if you're fine with that, then we know who you are. We know Nazi Germany. We know that. Then we know who you are. We've seen what you can do. We've seen what they can do. If you say that's not who you are, then you need to come out of your bubble, and you need to get back on the Earth One with the rest of us. Because you know what happened then. And that could happen to each and every person. Whether you wear a red hat or not. That's what's at stake. And there are a lot of us out there speaking out. And trying to bring this out into the light. That this is the danger we face as a people. Do not obey in advance. Do not. Then they win. So, like I said, the Biden-Harris team can win if we want them to. Again, we the people need to come out and get that message out there. I know we're doing it, but we need to go harder. We need to go and bring other people and get their voices into the mix too, because we're pushing the media and they're starting to see, but they really haven't got the message yet. So, folks, why don't we give it one last push? Because the train is barreling down the tracks. I will say it again. We need to pull the emergency brake. There's realistic things and practical things that need to be addressed. And this fever dream of some random person going to come in and save the day, we are not in a movie. This is not reality TV. As much as they want to make it that, it's not. And I think that people just need to come back down, take a breath, step back from that initial emotional reaction and how much this angst and anxiety is just eating at them, and pause and see where we are on the playing field. And changing out things in the middle of the game sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. But the odds are not on the house at that point. You see where I'm coming from? It's just not. And in history, it is not. So, I just want people to think about those things. And if you pick up on something in the media that you think they're not reporting on, or their framing is off, again, flip that script. Call them out. Call them out every day until they get back to journalism, reporting. Your opinion shows, have your opinions. More power to you. Peace be with you. And if you want to bicker about Biden and Harris and what's going on, do it all day on your opinion shows. But we want news. We want reporting. Because all of these things that are going on, the Orban, the Russian plot, something about, I have to dig into it a little bit. There was some Russian plot about ambassadors or something. I don't know. It was just a little out there that they had some shenanigans going on behind the scenes that we're trying to do. I mean, stuff like this, again, it's not making the news. I just saw a little bit on it. I didn't dig into it. I just saw it today. I heard something about it the other day, and I meant to go look into it further and got sidetracked. And I saw it again today in one of my newsletters that I follow, and I was like, wow, yeah, I wanted to look into that. I remember that now. But see, that's the thing. We've got so much constant fire hose of, we don't feel good about Biden. Well, you're not going to if you don't want to. Again, here is where we are. We don't have the luxury of what they want that could have happened a year ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I mean, we're not at that point of luxury anymore. It's game time. It's game time. And if they think they can pull that together and then blackmail us with Project 2025, well, you know, the other side wins, it's already going to be a refugee crisis, and that's people leaving here. Think on that, folks. There are a lot of people that it will no longer be safe to be here. But the unfortunate part is that these seeds of authoritarianism are all over the world, and all it needs is a light, a spark from one of the biggest countries in the world going that way to the seeds, they will sprout. Yeah, there's other countries already there, Hungary, China, North Korea, Russia, some in South Korea. We already know they're there, but it will spread like a cancer. So I don't know that there's going to be anywhere that's safe. I mean, maybe for a little while, and then you got to go somewhere else. I mean, that's why we need to fight it here. That's why we need to fight it here. We need to fight it here and now. Put a stomp on it. Because if they get the keys to the kingdom and we hand that over, because it is we the people, and we hand that over, eventually, over time, there will be nowhere that is safe. The seeds are already there. Italy, you know, France had a little bit, UK had some. I mean, their conservatives a little bit different. I mean, crazy, but they're still there. Again, like I said about World War II, it went underground, it just simmered and stewed, and it rises again. They're there, and it will just bring the sunlight those seeds need to go like wildfire. So we're going to have a refugee crisis. That is Absolutely. And not people coming here. There's people leaving, exiting en masse. And eventually, though, it will spread. It will embolden others to take that mantle and carry it forth wherever they are. You got it even a little bit in Africa because Russia's trying to move their, weasel their way in there. We need to stomp it out. We need to galvanize and send a message because, yeah, okay, maybe that comes in and some people get out okay. What about the people that are left that can't? And what about wherever you go, that threat is always going to be there. And maybe you got a month, maybe a couple of years, and then it just lights up. Because it will spread. It is a cancer. We have seen this. We have seen this playbook before, throughout history. It's that regime. It's that imperialism. So, folks, just keep all these things in mind. Again, we're in the end game. And we cannot let the media steer the ship. We are the captain of this ship. So, keep flipping the script. Keep calling their bluff. Media, politicians, everybody. Keep doing it. Keep at it. This is our daily job, if you will. Take a bit of time. Make the calls. Do the emails. Get on the website and say, hey, this is what it is. To everybody. Every day. We have to call them out on this. This is what I have laid out here is, it's overstated, and not overstated, it's oversimplified, but you get the basic gist of where I'm coming from in the bigger, broader picture. And yeah, I'm asking you to look at all these other little things, like the Logan Act and the meeting, and this, that, and the other, because they are part of the bigger picture, and they all connect. And it shouldn't frighten people. Surely give you concern, absolutely. Because if it didn't give me concern, I wouldn't be doing this. But again, take your skills, take what you can do, and flip the script. Activate, get engaged, get involved. We the people participate. Biden can win. Biden-Harris can win if we want them to. Do we want them to? I do. They've steered the ship pretty good the last 3 years, to my surprise. I would like to continue that. Because they've proven themselves. Now we got to prove ourselves. And we're on board. Alright, folks, y'all stay cool out there. It is hot as sin. So, have a good one. We will talk later. Peace.